Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. My name is Dr. Korachi, and in this video we will discuss advanced threat detection techniques with focus on signature-based detection. Now, signature-based detection is a method used in cybersecurity to identify and block known threats. It is like a detective looking for a specific fingerprint at the crime scene. The fingerprint, in cybersecurity terminology, is known as a signature. A signature is a pattern or a set of rules that corresponds to a known threat, such as a specific piece of malware or a method of attack. Now, as a student who's trying to get into the field of cybersecurity, understanding signature-based detection is fundamental. We will cover several topics as you see on the screen here. We will look into what does it mean, signature-based detection, the operation, types of signature, methods, advantages versus disadvantages, and the solutions available out in the world, and the end. Now, the signature-based detection, the use of digital fingerprints or signatures to identify malware. It relies on something, it's called indicator of compromise, which is basically a pre-programmed list of known threats. Now, an AOC can include malicious network, behavior, email, body, subject line, content, file hashes, known byte sequences, or malicious domains. Now, this type of detection involves your antivirus having, for example, like a predefined repository of static signature that represent known network threats. See, when antivirus scanner kicks into action, it creates an appropriate signature for each file when it starts scanning and compares them with the known signatures in its repository or the database. It keeps monitoring and searching network traffic or your files, scanning your files in the file system for signature matches. If a match found, this file is categorized as a threat, this example, then the file is blocked from taking any further action. Now, when it comes to operation, the first thing here, let's take a look at the three main parts in operation of signature base. The first one, the signature database. That's the core of the signature based detection, is the database that contains signatures of known threats. Now, those signatures can be composed of byte sequences in the code of malware, known malicious instruction sequences, or patterns that correspond to known attack strategies. The second part is the detection engine. That's the component that scans your files, it scans your network traffic or system activity for patterns that match the signatures in the database. See, when a match is found, the engine flags the activity or file as malicious. Finally, here we have the frequent updates. For signature-based detection to be effective, the signature database must be frequently updated with the new signatures as the new malware and threats are identified. This is typically done through regular updates distributed by the anti-malware vendor of the security product. Now, types of signatures. There are different types. The first one is the file hash signatures. Those are the unique hash values generated from the contents of a file. If there's a match to the hash file, with a known malware hash in the database, the file is flagged as malicious. String signatures. These are specific strings of code within a file that are known to be associated with malware. For example, like certain string of code might be known to be part of particular type of malware. The other one is the network traffic signatures. Those are coming from patterns in the network traffic that might indicate like malicious activity, like scanning particular network or try to exploit SQL database server, by executing certain codes. Shell code signatures are small pieces of code used as the payload to exploit the software vulnerabilities. Some of these signature-based detection system keeps a list of common shell codes and alert if any request contains a shell code. Now, the registry key signatures, malware often creates, modifies, or even deletes some of the registry keys. Why? Well, simply to alter system behavior or to evade detection in some cases. Now, these register keys can serve as signatures for malware detection. Auto start signatures. Many types of malware try to register themselves to start automatically when the system boots. These auto start entries can serve as a signature for malware detection. Now let's take a look at some of the methods used to detect malware. The first one is the byte sequence matching. This method involves comparing certain sequence of bytes known for a malware against pattern identified in a signature database. Like in this example here, you know, a simple example, like we know that this malware has the following byte sequence, you see here on the screen. Now, pattern matching will scan the files and network traffic for this sequence of bytes. If it detects it, then it will flag it. Now, another one is the traffic pattern identification. This is, in addition to regular expression matching, they are more advanced and flexible than byte sequence matching, simply because it allows for creating complex patterns using regular expression sequence of characters defining a search pattern. Like, for example, like snort allows you, if you ever use snort, to create your own custom rules using regular expression, to match pattern within packet data to detect malicious, for example, like URL pattern or SQL attacks or any type of attacks, or even like in a malware things. So in this example here, if we need to configure Snort to detect any HTTP request that trying to access sensitive directory like admin, we create a code like this. The first one here, the alert, uh, tells Snort to generate an alert. The second part here, the TCP, any 80 specify the rule applies to TCP traffic from any source IP and port to any destination IP on port 80. Okay. Now, TCP could be UDP, could be ICMP, could be anything. Now here, the message you see on the screen, this is the message that will be logged if the rule is triggered. And here also, this is basically parallel compatible regular expression part of the rule. This tells the snort to look for the pattern get /admin here, in the packet data where I at the end of the expression indicates case insensitive matching. The last part here is the snort ID, and it should be unique one. Now, we get the opcode sequence analysis. This is an advanced detection techniques. It try to analyze the sequence of opcodes, which is the basic instructions a processor execute in executable file. If there's a match to a known malware sample, it is flagged. Now, doing this, you need a software like IDA Pro, which is a very well-known disassembler, which is also used for doing reverse engineering. With this software, it can help you to identify suspicious opcode patterns. Like A real example like my Doom work, this is a good example of opcode sequence analysis, was used to detect this my Doom worm, which was identified back in 2004. My Doom is known for being its rapid propagation via email and for launching distributed denial of service attacks. Now, during the analysis of this worm, researchers would disassemble the worm's executable code to study its op code sequences. They discovered that this particular worm contained these some sequence of these codes that are unique to its propagation mechanism, which involves sending copies of itself via email by using its own SMTP engine. Now, the opcode sequence corresponded to the instructions for email generation, by the way, and sending. Now, a security software can use this opcode sequence as a signature to scan the file. So when they want to scan this particular file containing something same or similar opcode sequence, it would be flagged as potentially being infected by MyDoom or any variant. Now, what you see on the screen over here basically is assembly language. It requires a deep understanding of assembly language and the architecture of the processor for which the malware is written here. Now, for registry key analysis, this is used in digital forensics and, of course, cybersecurity to detect malware by examining the Windows registry for keys and values known to be used by malware. Now, why? Well, we know that malware often adds or modifies registry keys in Windows. A real example of registry key analysis can be seen in detecting and analyzing of this banking Trojan. Now, this particular Trojan, by the way, known for creating or modifying Windows registry keys. Uh, uh, like if you look at this example here, it wants to establish persistence by creating a new registry key within this key inside your registry. So which means that it allows the malware to execute automatically at the system startup. Even if you clean it and if you're not aware of this here, you shut down the system, you turn it back on, the malware is back in. Now, the static heuristic rule-based detection, the process of analyzing files for possible malicious characteristics without executing them. That's why it's called static, not dynamic. This method uses predefined rules and algorithms to assess various aspects of a file, like the file structure, the metadata, the code sequences, to determine if it exhibits behavior commonly associated with malware. Now, a real-world example of this type of detection can be seen in identifying Stuxnet worm, which was discovered back in 2010. You know, now this method, by the way, relies on identifying patterns and characteristics that are often but not exclusively associated with malware. It is a proactive approach that can detect new, previously unknown threats, but can also result in false positives. Now, therefore, it is typically used with another detection method, which will be our future topics in other videos. Now, the file format specification, that's referred to analysis of the files to ensure that they follow the expected structure and the specification of their declared format, like PDF for PDF, Word for Word. Now, why? Well, malware often exploit vulnerabilities in the file formats to execute malicious code. You can find a lot of examples online. Like, a well-known example is the PDF vulnerability exploitation. Uh, for example, like exploiting JavaScript in the PDF. Well, JavaScript was used to execute malicious actions or to exploit vulnerabilities in the PDF reader in this case. So the security software analyzed the JavaScript within the PDF to check for patterns or functions known to be associated with this type of malicious activity. Okay, which is, or possibly for a code that try to exploit known vulnerabilities in the PDF reader software itself, not the file, not the PDF file, even the reader. Now, the anomalous embedded objects, you know, we know that PDF often contained embedded objects like images that were crafted to exploit vulnerabilities in the Adobe Reader. Now, file format specification analysis involved, examining carefully these embedded objects to ensure they conformed to the expected format. So, therefore, any deviations from the norm would indicate an attempt to exploit vulnerabilities. Now, it's important for you to understand the difference or the advantages and disadvantages of this method. Now, let's start with the advantages. High accuracy for known threats. This type of detection effectively identifies and stop only the known threats. So, if there's a malware has a known signature and it's found in the database, it will detect it. Efficiency here, because it relies on predefined signatures, the method can be quite fast and efficient, regarding of the computational resources, especially compared to more complex analysis methods, which we'll discuss in future videos. Simplicity of use, it's easy to use and maintain. They don't require extensive configuration or programming or creating rules that can, and it can be deployed quickly. You know, Reliability, it has a fewer false positive than behavior-based or heuristic or anomaly detection because it relies on exact matches to known threats. It's well developed, yes, indeed, because this approach can benefit from years of development and a vast database of known threats signature collected by cyber security communities. Now let's look at the disadvantages. Now, limited to known threats, that's the biggest problem here. So if it's unknown, forget it. It's not gonna detect it. Like, for example, like 0-day threat, it will not detect it. Reactive nature, this method requires identifying a threat and creating a signature before it can be detected. This process can take time, why? Well, it depends on the vendor, the antivirus vendor, if they are fast in releasing the updated one or the latest one, basically. Now, it does require updates, you know, constantly. You know, if your database is not fully updated, then you are in troubles. Resources intensive, although efficient per scan, maintaining a large and ever-growing signature database can be resource intensive, especially for large organizations with extensive networks traffic. Evasive techniques, well, attackers can employ different techniques to modify malware and evade signature detection easily, like encryption, obfuscation, and other methods. Now, static analysis limitation. It does not account for behavior running processes. It does not deal with this. It does not detect potentially missing or complex threat. You know, uh, behavior, it will not be able to detect that, and that's one of the biggest problems. Now, question is, what type of solutions out there that integrate, a signature base? I mean, of course, antivirus. That's one of them. They all have database. Like I said, you need to update them. IDS, like Snort, I already provide you with example. They use signature-based detection to quickly identify patterns in the network. traffic node is a network IDS. It can, tell you if there's a malicious activity or unauthorized access. Firewalls also, they use it to monitor network traffic and block potential threat. SIM system as well, it does it. However, today's modern SIMs rely on, mixture of signature based, behavior based, anomaly based for more view of suspicious behavior in your environment, you know. So in conclusion, signature-based analysis remains a fundamental method for identifying known threats. Yet, it is important to note that it is often complemented by other methods to deal with this evolving threat. So, finally, I just want to say thank you so much for watching this video. And if you like it, please hit the like button and subscribe for more advanced threat detection methods I will be released in near future. Thank you so much for watching.